that one. Okay, we should be live in 3, 2, 1. Hey, Dr. Z here, your unbelieving scum, and this is episode 11, Is the Universe Fine-Tuned Just for Us? Was it meant, purposed, designed, inevitable that it produced us? That's what we're going to talk about today. And oh, by the way, if you like that guitar work over the title slide, yeah, that's me, with a couple of blues rock licks on my Strat. I can't shred or do anything fantastic, but learning stuff on guitar is another passion of mine. It's as much fun as learning all the info I'm going to present to you in the next 15 minutes. I love finding stuff out on the internet. The whole world is in the palm of your hands and on your laptop, and yeah, more on that later. Okay, so us Homo sapiens with our conscious awareness and ability to contemplate ideas like a universe, fine-tuning and the like, are we the endpoint, are we the purpose of it all? Okay? So philosophers, physicists, not just theologians, dig the anthropic principle, that the universe is constants, the charge on the electron, the weight of the proton, the strengths of the four forces of nature, weak and strong nuclear forces, gravity, electromagnetism, that they're just perfectly fine-tuned, the right values within a precise range, Goldilocks kind of conditions that allow stars and galaxies to form. And stars burn and blow up and create all the elements and the cosmic dust all glom together and form solar systems and planets, and at least on Earth we get liquid water, and then you can form large molecules because it's just not too hot, not too cold, and you got liquid where molecules can get together. You get organic chemicals, you get life on Earth pretty quickly too. And eventually human beings, self-aware consciousness. So are we the purpose of all those cosmic parameters, right? So that's the anthropic principle. It proposes the universe is designed with us in mind. We are the end point, right? Consciousness is inevitable, preordained. A couple of ways to look at it. The weak anthropic principle kind of takes a little different tack, that us and our consciousness could only happen with those right conditions. So no surprise we find ourselves here. And we could be one universe out of multi-universes, but in regard to that, the only place we could exist is in a universe that had that constant. The other angle is the strong anthropic principle. There's a lot of variations on it. And the wiki says the universe is in some sense compelled to eventually have consciousness, sapient life, emerge within it. Okay? And it's assuming that humans are the center, the endpoint, the purpose of all creation, that we're in a privileged kind of position. Whenever humans have assumed that over the millennia, and especially the last couple of 100 years of science, we're proven wrong every time. The Earth is not the center of the universe. We're not the crown of creation. Most cultures think they're God's special chosen people. That's been proved wrong too. It's kind of a chicken-egg dilemma. If the constants were any different, we wouldn't be here to talk about them, right? So are we then the purpose of those constants being what they are? Or are we just another one of all sorts of consequences that fall out of those constants? No more special maybe than black holes, quasars, intergalactic voids, asteroids, planets, ponds, scum, bacteria, viruses, cockroaches, right? Is the supposed fine-tuning really purposely meant to produce us? Just us? We're the endpoint? Us human conscious beings? Consciousness. Going to have a couple videos on that down the road, but for now, all nervous systems model their environment here on Earth, right? For accurate prediction to produce adaptive motor responses, right? Now, our particular consciousness includes a model in our head full of abstract relational concepts and a self-awareness that's way beyond other animals' perceptual organization and kind of self-boundary. We have a self moving through a world in our heads of objects, people, animals, and events, in moving through space and through time. I don't think your dog has any conception of space or time. I don't think he knows what a Tuesday is, or that he's living on the third rock from the sun in North America and 40 miles northwest of Chicago, whatever, right? So are we so inevitable? Are we so prominent in the universe? Our conceptual modeling really is a one-off, and we'll talk about that. Is there a lot more to the universe than just us? Sean Carroll, the physicist, in a video I have referenced down below in the description, shows the Hubble Deep Field, right? Thousands of galaxies. And you can get that image just by, if you hold your hand up and make a hole the size of a quarter and look in that hole and put it on a spot in the sky that's dark where you can't see anything. If the Hubble telescope focuses on that spot, that's what it sees. Thousands of galaxies, billions of light years away. So out of the trillions of galaxies and the huge vastness in that one quarter-sized hole in the sky, we're the endpoint of that vastness? That's what Sean Carroll questions. What hubris, right? I think he's got a real point there. From the Anthropic Principle in the Wiki, the weak Anthropic Principle, sorry. According to Jürgen I screwed that up. According to Jürgen Schmidhuber, the Anthropic Principle essentially just says that the conditional probability of finding yourself in a universe compatible with your existence is always 1. Fucking duh, right? This is the only universe we could find ourselves in, so does that mean it was meant for us, right? That it meant to produce us all along? So my question to try and answer that is, how probable is consciousness in this universe? How amenable to conscious life in general is the universe, is the cosmos really? Is consciousness an inevitable product of this universe, that how we evolved and when we evolved? Has it been thus far likely or easy to achieve consciousness in a human being type animal anywhere, anytime in this universe, right? So if the constants are so fine-tuned for life consciousness, how amenable are let's start with just the areas and the objects in the cosmos, how well do they support life, human life, conscious human life? So our solar system extends a couple of light years, okay? Interstellar distances, right, within our own galaxy are on the order of like 5 light years, 30 trillion miles. So the nearest star to us is about 4 or 5 light years away. Okay, the Milky Way itself is 100,000 light years across. The nearest galaxy, M31 Andromeda, you see in the image there, is 2.5 million light years away. And most intergalactic distances are on the scale of tens to hundreds of millions of light years apart. The vast majority of the universe is this incredible intergalactic void, and it's unfathomably cold out there, 450 degrees below zero, okay? Utterly dark intergalactic voids, no life, no consciousness to be found out there, kids. Ain't nobody living out there. No thinking critters contemplating how the universe was just made for them, smugly musing on how special they are. That ain't happening in most of the universe. The vast majority of the universe could not include us in our conscious awareness. Now, besides interstellar spaces of trillions of miles and intergalactic voids on the order of hundreds of millions of light years, right, we can't exist for even the tiniest fraction of a second in most of the objects, right? Things that aren't in the intergalactic void, that are in galaxies. Most of those things we can't live on. We can't live in a pulsar, a quasar, a black hole, an asteroid, a comet, not in any of the trillions of stars, right? Or on the vast majority of the trillions of planets, even. All those objects in all those galaxies, we can't exist there. The conditions are all wrong. All but a tiny, tiny fraction of our universe is utterly inhospitable to us. Okay, so whatever the purpose of 99.999% of the universe's vastness is, it ain't us. Okay? In addition, as David Deutsch, the physicist, points out, it took almost 10 billion years of monotonous galactic and intergalactic expansion, stars forming and blowing up, to arrive at a habitable Earth. The vast majority of the universe's existence, we didn't even have an Earth yet. Even then, Simple life evolved within a few 100 million years of the Earth forming, but it was the evolution of plants after more than another billion years that produced enough atmospheric oxygen, I screwed that up in rehearsal too, that allowed for the later evolution and proliferation of animals. Then it took most of that last 3 billion years of Earth existence for evolution to get to mammals and primates and apes. We are all three. We're a mammal, we're a primate, we're an ape. Then another 6 million more years of our unique evolution. Our path as a bipedal primate, grasping hands, right? Then an enlarging brain, tools, etc., to develop, finally, our self-aware theorizing consciousness that we take for granted today. Okay? The consciousness we experience today, full of concepts and theories of everything, including the universe itself, may be but a few 100,000 years old. Not even the tiniest blip of cosmic time. If we are so frickin' special, and the only intelligent conscious critter, on Earth at least, that can now discover and contemplate the vastness and complexity of the universe itself, right? Well, it sure took its sweet time to get to us. If we were supposedly so inevitable, or the purpose of it all in the first place. Again, not only do we show up ridiculously late in the scheme of cosmic things, the vast majority of this anthropic universe is completely inimical to anything like conscious human life. We can't live in it, okay? And consider Earth. This is even better. Our Earth was devoid of anything like us for 99.996 of its existence, right? And our dear Mother Earth, our spaceship Earth, actually is mostly out to kill us with microbes and bacteria and predators, right? And bad weather. When you really think about it, right? Step outside without your coat, your clothes, and wander around the woods with no fire or shelter or food and see how long you make it, right? The Earth is out to kill you. The best survivalists can conjure up all they need to stay warm and fed, but they'll toil endlessly day after day, sun up to sundown, and have no protection from illness or disease, right? No antibiotics, no cancer treatments, no heart surgery, no vaccines, no ERs. Mother Earth doesn't provide any of this for us. We did that, and it took a while, okay? So consider that the great majority of all living things that ever evolved on Earth were not conscious in any way like us. Our self-aware, contemplative intelligence is a one-off on Earth. Okay, the model of the world, I said, that we carry around in our head, including the universe and its constants, looks like that's ours and ours alone. Okay, there's absolutely no evidence any other critter does this. So, was it so inevitable that the constants led to just us? Human evolution itself, I said, was a long, complex series of contingent developments. And each development was not a slam dunk to lead to this large, contemplating, large brain, self-aware, theorizing critter, us, right? After a few million years of simple tool making, we began to exhibit a facility with spatial concepts like equality and symmetry. More on that later. That's my research in cognitive evolution. But we went hundreds of thousands of years more before cave art and hafted tools, or any sort of primitive symbolism. We were intelligent by then, doing beautiful, skilled art after 40,000 years ago, tracking animals, surviving in ice age conditions, but it took tens of thousands more years to develop to modern science and the ability to even contemplate an anthropic principle or any of the other theoretical models we use to describe our world, this universe. None of these steps were inevitable or preordained or destined to produce modern man with modern science. So consider another angle here, bacteria. Bacteria formed almost immediately here on Earth, almost 4 billion years before us, and now inhabit regions on the planet we would immediately die in, okay? In acidic pools, the suffocating soil, deep in the earth, around hydrothermal vents, deep in the crushing ocean, on the skin and in the guts of nearly every other creature on the planet, and thriving in one hell of a lot of dead and rotting ones too. Bacteria number in the 10 times 10 to the 30th, or 1,000 billion, okay? Humans just passed 8 billion people. Maybe we should rename it the bacteria principle or the viral principle. They exist all over the place too, and number about an order of magnitude or two more than the bacteria. Million, billion, billion, billions. Ridiculous. Similarly, insects evolved 300 million years before us, inhabit nearly every environment, have a biomass 100 times ours, and may make up 90% of the species on Earth. Maybe we should name it the cockroach principle, right? The cosmological parameters sure produced a lot of tiny, adaptive, and successful critters here on Earth long before us and in ridiculous numbers. The purpose of the universe's parameters appears to be mostly vastly empty voids and tiny critters. Methinks we should rename it the myopic principle. One more shot at it. Here's the tree of life. We're one of 8 million estimated species alive. Of the 800 million to a billion species that ever lived over our 4 billion year existence here on Earth. And again, life evolved very quickly after Earth formed. We didn't show up till 200,000 to 300,000 years ago, right? Now, so we're a tiny, tiny piece of that tree of life on Earth, and incredibly last minute late. Most astrobiologists suspect, given the ubiquity of organic compounds in the cosmos and the staggering amount of exoplanets, life could be quite common in this universe. And given the history of life on Earth, it's probably dominated by bacteria and viruses, right, in the greatest numbers. So if life does exist anywhere, it's probably just simple little organisms like the one, orgasms? That was Freudian. Now I gotta decide if I'm leaving that in or not. It may be just simple organisms, right, that exist anywhere else if there's the right Goldilocks condition somewhere else in the cosmos. Life could be really common, but our type of larger multi-celled creature with conscious intelligence may be incredibly rare. Okay? So far, both in space and time and on our own planet, unfortunately that's true. I suspect philosophers and theologians and some scientists are just indulging in a very ingrained cultural perspective and old explanations that seem to answer why questions for us, okay? That there must be some underlying reason, an anthropic principle, or a designer, maybe a supreme intelligent being out there who planned it all. There's a purpose to this at least, or some dastardly cosmic puppet master who's just toying with us. If you dig the modern idea of simulation matrix stuff, you know, that's what explains why we're here, right? We're still somehow special from all the rest of creation, and there's a human-like intent behind it, a reason. And that appeals to us. There must be a reason, right? Right? Yet time and time again, as our scientific knowledge unfolds, we discover the universe doesn't give a damn about our self-centered inclinations. Okay? Having, needing, seeing reasons is peculiar to our human psychology, our uniquely evolved psychology. We are intentional beings. We do stuff for reasons. So we look for reasons for intention everywhere, right? We look for agency. Somebody must have did this. Thunder, Vulcan, you know, right? All that stuff. We look for agency. We want purpose. We need to see intent, yet much of the universe may have no particular purpose, much less us in mind. There may not be any intention out there. We like to think somebody is behind all this, a hidden person like intelligence who's really in control, and we, you know, are humans unawares. We're just pawns in a universal game. That's conspiratorial thinking that's appealing to us. There's a purpose to it all. Somebody with a purpose just has to be behind it all. It's hard for us to let go of being the reason for things, or that the universe should operate on our human principles. Religion and theology, of course, exist solely to support such ideas, and that the idea that something like us is behind it all. We do tend to think we are the reason that everything the way it is. Maybe what we actually see is what is actually true, and that is the universe is what it is, with or without us having made it to our uniquely involved psychology, our cognition, our motivations, our very recent theoretical understanding and modeling of that same universe, okay? And that the vast, vast majority of the universe and its time has nothing at all to do with us. Get over it. So that's my take on the anthropic principle. Love to hear your comments. Send me an email on unbelievingscome@gmail.com. Please hit that subscribe button if you like any of this stuff. The Patreon link is there, and there's a Patreon icon in the upper right of my banner on my YouTube channel. Help support me in any way you can, and hey, we'll see you next time. Adios. Have fun.